Today we're going to be asking the question, what if Spider-Man had kept the Venom symbiote and it had become evil as Spider-Man seemingly had become? Well, today we're going to be looking at Spider's Shadow, a 6-issue miniseries that explored that concept out of continuity. These are videos that are taken off of the Comicstorian channel, our main channel where we cover comic book content on a daily basis. And then we turn it around and turn it into these giant videos because we cover them individually over there and then make these videos. I hope you guys enjoy. Peter can hear it in his nightmares. Hurry, Peter. He runs through the darkness, yelling that he's doing his best, and a voice asks, "Are you? Is that really true?" He sees images of Felicia, Mary Jane, Aunt May, and Gwen Stacy asking if he is doing his best. Then why do so many people that he loves die? Peter feels the darkness wrapping around him, stating that he didn't. He's doing... But then he wakes up shouting that he is doing his best. For Peter, the nightmares keep getting worse. Things have been stressful, sure, but when aren't they? Aunt May hasn't been talking to him since he dropped out of school, and he's been messing up with MJ and the Black Cat. No chance of going back to sleep now, so may as well get some fresh air and shake this off. Yeah, just shake this off. As the black suit wraps itself around Peter, he thinks that the only easy thing lately in his life has been this suit. Alien material that doesn't need to be washed after fighting bad guys. Unlimited webbing. It responds to his every thought. Heck, it can even mimic other clothing. He sort of misses the classic look, the old look that didn't really strike fear into the hearts and minds of his enemies. But this new one, oh, it does. Guess he could always swap it around when he feels more friendly and neighborhood. Just then a woman shouts for help while two muggers try to take her purse. One man says that he's holding a knife, and Spider-Man says yeah, and he'll continue holding it until the webbing dissolves. The cops are going to be so excited. After punching the first man, the second grabs the woman, telling Spider-Man to back off. But Spider-Man grabs the second man, slamming him into the wall, asking, "When will you ever learn? People's lives aren't worth this. I'm so tired of." But before punching the robber, he stops himself, telling the old woman that he is sorry. He gets mad. He asks if that is Spider-Man, and he tells her, yes, it is. Just added the dark to tall, dark, and handsome. As Spider-Man heads back out, he thinks that maybe he should try and get some sleep again. He's just been feeling so tired lately. And then a voice tells him, no. Spider-Man lands looking around. He's not quite sure who it was and begins to think that maybe he's more tired than he thought. And just as before, Spider-Man has the same nightmare once again, where he violently wakes up, throwing Mary Jane against the wall as he lashes out. Mary Jane yells, "Listen, it's her. The door was unlocked. What the hell is the matter with you, Peter?" He tells her, "Oh God, I'm sorry. These nightmares they're getting." And MJ tells him that it's fine. Actually, that's why she's here. She is sorry for walking out the other day. Knowing that he is Spider-Man has been hard. It's hard accepting that he has this dangerous double life of situations and people she can't even wrap her head around. She wanted to run away from it all, but she is his friend, and she can see that he is unraveling. He isn't sleeping, he's darker. Even this new look of his, but as MJ picks up the suit, it wiggles. Spider-Man says that it's not from around here. He's sorry, and she's right. He doesn't know what's wrong, but he'll figure it out. He suits back up and heads out thinking that he might be able to get some answers from Reed Richards. That way they can check out the suit but as Spider-Man fires a web line, nothing happens. He begins to fall, but when he uses his other hand, the webbing appears and he manages to land on a rooftop. Spider-Man says, okay, didn't think I could run out of webbing. All the more reason to take it to, Spidey sense. Just then, the Hobgoblin rockets by, laughing, yelling that he'll keep coming back until they pay up. Spider-Man swings down, kicking Hobgoblin off of his glider, stating that maybe he should start getting those people to prepay for his services. As the Hobgoblin falls onto a car, he throws a bomb upward, blasting Spider-Man into a nearby building. He gets up laughing, stating that he's going to miss him once he finally kills the spider. Spider-Man webs up the car that Hobgoblin fell on, whipping it back, slamming it into him, telling him, I am getting real tired of this, real tired of you. Hobgoblin coughs, having a bad day? And Spider-Man smacks him, telling him, I want this to be done. As he rips the mask off, he looks closer. Roderick Kingsley? You decided to go all in and be a supervillain? Roderick tells him that he wanted power, but Spider-Man punches him, asking, power? You hurt people, terrorize them for power? The voice inside of Spider-Man's head talks to him again. Scare him, power through fear. Spider-Man looks at Kingsley. You don't know it, but I am power! As Spider-Man throws Roderick down, he tells him that prison is useless. He'll get out just like the rest, so spread the word. Spider-Man is for keeps now. The next day, Spider-Man stops by the home of the Fantastic Four with the Torch yelling, Hey Reed, drop your experimental device that'll make the world so much better, because Spidey here wants you to look at his tracksuit. Spider-Man tells him to shut up. He just hasn't been sleeping well. And Reed tells him it's okay. He's been eager to analyze that suit of his. Shouldn't take more than half an hour or so. Anything unusual lately, Spidey? There was a moment that he didn't fire a web line the other day, but it seems to have fixed itself. Aside from that, he's been really tired lately. But it doesn't seem to be because of the suit, because if anything, the suit is making him feel stronger. Like he's more powerful if he's just wearing it. The only time that he feels bad is when he isn't wearing it, and Reed says that they'll do some tests and see. But as Spider-Man lays down, he asks if it's okay that he gets some shut-eye while this is happening. He doesn't want to be rude or anything. Reed tells him of course, they'll let him know when they're done. So as Spider-Man falls asleep, Torch says that Spidey's been acting weird, huh? It's not just me. Reed says that Spider-Man is definitely not his usual self, and he has some suspicions. But while Spider-Man dozes off, his nightmare comes creeping back in, but slightly different this time. He finds himself trying to save people, but the voice tells him that it's okay. Sometimes he may have to hurt people to save people. Peter says that he can't, but the voice tells him that he needs to. He needs to be strong. Spider-Man screams as he wakes up with Reed telling him that everything is okay, the tests are done, they just didn't want to disturb him while they sifted through the data. Spider-Man says that he's sorry, did he mention the nightmares, and Reed says that it would make sense. The suit reacts to thought, and he is also reacting to the suit's thoughts. It appears to be bonding with him physically and mentally. It's not advanced material, it's more of a symbiote, a sentient being. Spider-Man looks at himself. Oh, that makes sense. It makes me stronger, so I must help it somehow. Reed says actually he'd suggest removing it immediately so they can keep it here for further examinations. Spider-Man asks if it's really necessary, and Reed tells him yes it is. They don't know what kind of damage the symbiote is doing to him. Spider-Man says that this thing is alive. It has a right to make choices just like he does, and it chooses to be with them, and he chooses to be with it. They're helping each other, and he can feel it, Reed. It shouldn't be kept in a prison here. Reed stretches his arm out, telling Spidey to wait, but Spidey grabs his arm, crushing it, telling him, I know a greedy scientist when I see one. This isn't a science project for you to poke with a stick. It's a living thing. I wanted to know more about the suit, and now I do. Thanks. Later that night, Spider-Man heads to Aunt May's as he tells himself that he knows that Reed is just trying to help, but they don't need a scientist. What he needs is a rest. Hasn't had nightmares this bad since Uncle Ben died, and Aunt May hasn't talked to him since he dropped out, but he needs to go home. He needs to see her. As Peter knocks on the door, there's someone in the trees watching him. It's Hobgoblin. As the two sit at the table, May clears her throat asking how he's been, and Peter says not good. He knows that she's still mad at him, but things have been hard. Everything is just spinning. She's the only person on the planet who can bring him back to the stillness. May says that she shouldn't have cut him out like that. She just didn't like the thought of him not living up to his amazing potential. Suddenly there's an explosion, throwing them both to the ground, and May calls out to Peter as the Hobgoblin flies in. Peter, Spider, Peter, save me! After suiting up, Spider-Man grabs Hobgoblin and punching him into the house, shouting, My house, Kingsley! Hobgoblin sends his glider to knock Spider-Man down, yelling, You're the one who started this! Unmasking me, threatening me, you ruined the game, Spider! Spider-Man jumps up, lunging, using both feet to kick Hobgoblin through a lamppost, telling him, Shut up! Hobgoblin gets up laughing, telling him, It hurts when you're so close to home, huh? Spider-Man picks him up, punching, Hurt? Hurt? You don't know what hurt is! And that's when his spider sense goes off, reminding him that May is still inside the burning building. He quickly turns back to get her. However, as he gets close, the suit stops him, telling him, No! Fire! No! Will kill us! Spider-Man begs the suit to let him get May out, but the suit tells him, Cannot! Cannot! As the house explodes with May inside. The suit tells him, I'm sorry. We're sorry. He did this. Spider-Man looks at Hobgoblin, who's walking away. He did this. Hobgoblin holds his arm up, telling him, It was a mistake, But just then he suddenly webbed up, telling him, You're the one who started it. Spider-Man reaches up. No, I wasn't, but I'm going to finish this! He reaches up, grabbing Hobgoblin by the head with both of his hands. He begins to think that no matter what he does, people get hurt, people die. But he can stop it. He has the power. It's time to use it. And he begins to squeeze and crush Kingsley's head. He watches as the blood begins to drip. And then he leaves, letting the Hobgoblin hang in the streets, bleeding out from a crushed head. Another night passes and Peter has another meeting with his suit in his sleep. He says that he had it wrong. He has power. He has responsibility. But what is that responsibility? It is to save people, to keep them safe. But he never really keeps them safe, not for long, at least. The symbiote tells him, no, you don't. And Peter says that he pretended to, putting men in goblin masks in prison. But prison to them was always a vacation, time to plot and plan. Those plans always led to a murder in Peter's life. Gwen Stacy, her father George Stacy, and Aunt May. Letting bastards live was as bad as letting the robber run past him and losing Uncle Ben. The symbiote tells him that it was his responsibility, but now it is our responsibility. As Peter washes himself up, he takes a walk in the city to try and clear his head, trying to convince himself that killing Hobgoblin was the right thing to do. But the symbiote tells him that that is nature. Things live, things die, things forfeit their right to live. Peter tells the symbiote that that may be true, but he still feels shame. The symbiote tells him that they know not of this feeling. What is shame? Peter tries to explain, but then says he doesn't want people to find out. He doesn't want Mary Jane to. The symbiote says that people know, then people fear, and if people fear, no one does wrong. Peter sighs, telling him that he doesn't want people to think that he's a murderer. Damn it! He looks in the newspaper, and he sees the headline, Threat or Menace, with an image of Hobgoblin on the front page. Peter yells that his killing the Hobgoblin was justified. Maybe they're right. Maybe I need to put fear into the people. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kingpin sits in his penthouse reading the same article, asking if it's true. Did Spider-Man do this? Kingpin's aide says the eyewitnesses saw him fighting the Hobgoblin and then, well, snapping is the word most often used. Kingpin takes a deep breath as he stands up. That is unfortunate. The only thing that made these superheroes tolerable was their insipid moral codes, nuisances, but never any real danger. My criminal empire can handle a 5% deficit due to Spider-Man's interference, but it cannot tolerate his death. It would seem that the time has come to make some calls. Later at the Daily Bugle, Jonah yells to Robbie that they will post whatever they need to. Spider-Man is a murderer, and the people of the world need to know! Robbie shuts the door to the office, telling him that they need to do this carefully. They don't know what happened out in Queens. It could be a different man in that suit. It isn't as clear-cut as Jonah thinks. Jonah scoffs once the door closes, and when he sits back down, he sees an outline of someone standing in his window. Seconds later, Spider-Man crashes in, screaming for Jonah, slamming him into the wall. Jonah yells for him to get his hands off, but Spider-Man grabs a hold of his hand, telling him, I don't care anymore, Jonah! He smashes his hand into the wall, asking, Isn't this what you wanted? You've been whipping up the city for years, telling them that I'm a criminal when all I've done is help people! Jonah struggles, and Spider-Man pulls him back, crushing Jonah's hand into his, telling him that it looks like they both got what they wanted. He'll be helping people more, and he'll be a criminal. Jonah screams as he falls to his knees, telling him, You broke my... Spider-Man tells him that if there is one more word about him in that paper, he'll come back and break the other hand. So the days start to go by. No word from Peter, and Mary Jane stops by his apartment asking if he's home. She says that she hasn't seen him since the funeral and, well, the news has been stating, oh my god. She walks into the room and sees Peter suspended in the air by the symbiote, asking what is going on. Peter asks if that is her. Sorry, MJ, it probably looks really strange, but honestly, it's incredibly comfortable. Mary Jane says that he hasn't been answering his phone, and Peter says that they have been busy. She asks, what does he mean by they? The Bugle, even the other papers, are stating that Spider-Man is it true, Peter? Are you murdering people? Peter stares for a moment and then says that he could have saved her if he had made that decision earlier. She asks what decision, and Peter tells her the one where he decides who will live. Hobgoblin, a piece of trash underworld killer, or Aunt May, the kindest person I've ever known, MJ. It's all decisions. Life is decisions, and they're not for everyone. But I have the power to make those decisions, which means I'm finally making them. He suits up, jumping out the window, telling the symbiote, "That was horrible." And they ask, "Why?" "I can't stand seeing MJ, her knowing what we've done. Humans won't understand. They live in fear of their choices. I'm human, though." "No, you're more than human. We are much more than human." As Spider-Man swings through the city, his spider sense goes crazy, and suddenly a giant explosion goes off behind him. Shocker calls out, telling him that he's digging the new look. "What's up, Spidey? Usually can't shut you!" Without even responding, Spider-Man flings himself over, kicking Shocker with both feet off of the building. He then swings off, telling him that he's just a second-rate thief. "No way you'd come alone!" Spider-Man grabs the attacking tail of Scorpion as Scorpion asks, "Yo, is this for real? Are you a bad guy now?" Spider-Man still doesn't respond, instead using the symbiote to fill Scorpion's mouth, beginning to suffocate him. Once he lands on the ground, Spider-Man walks over to Shocker, and Shocker tells him, "Oh God, Fisk was right." He lashes out with another blast, missing Spider-Man, but the shockwave hits a building, causing debris to fall on a mother protecting her child. Spider-Man looks back at the mother and then to Shocker, and everything goes black. Later in Kingpin's apartment, Kingpin sits by a fire reading a book when he hears a voice telling him to get up. He closes the book, he stands up, and he says, "I wasn't expecting you so soon." One of Shocker's bloody arms is thrown to the ground, and when Kingpin looks up, he sees Spider-Man holding the two ripped-off limbs of the Scorpion. Kingpin takes his glasses. "When they said that you murdered the Hobgoblin, I had my men research the woman who died in the fire. May Parker. To provoke such a reaction, she must have been someone close to you. Our best match was a man named Peter Parker. You. And when I went about investigating, seeing if there was any other family, someone that I could threaten, no one showed up. So incredibly sad. You have no one. Everyone you ever loved is..." But before Kingpin could even finish his evil villain monologue, Spider-Man punches him in the head, causing his skull to shatter. Later, Doc Ock contacts Mysterio, Kraven, Electro, and Rhino and tells them that with the loss of Fisk, Shocker, and Scorpion, Spider-Man's next targets will most likely be them. Kraven tells him that he agrees they can no longer hide themselves. It is time to band together and strike. And Doc Ock says that there is only one of them here who has seen the new Spider-Man up close. What do you think, Mr. Jameson? Jonah sits up in a chair, telling them, "Spider-Man needs to be stopped. I tried to warn everyone for years. He's a killer. And though all of you should be behind bars, Spider-Man is the most dangerous villain of you all, and we need to stop him, whatever the cost." Doc Ock says that they are all in agreement then. Kraven will draft up a plan and get back to them. "Good evening, gentlemen." As the call ends, Doc Ock asks if there have been any sightings, and the agents tell him no, maybe they should lure him out. Doc Ock scratches his chin. "Absolutely not. We're going to wait for Kraven. What we need to do is start getting things ready and arming our men. Once this is over, we will take out the others along with Spider-Man. We can't trust any of them." And as the agents leave, one stays, and Doc Ock asks if there's something wrong. Did he not make himself clear? The agent pulls out a knife, stabbing Doc Ock, telling him, "Oh, I understood." Doc Ock falls to the ground. "Terrence? What?" The man takes off his mask. "Sorry, Doc. Name's Eddie Brock, and I can't just let you go and kill Spider-Man. That's my job." And those are the two issues that we've already covered here at the channel. Now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the conclusion to this story. After years of getting ripped off by big wireless providers and tons of fine print contracts, it's time to say enough and get a phone plan that saves money without sacrificing quality. Well, Mint Mobile is just the thing. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month. That's it. All plans come with an unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number. And if you aren't completely satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/complete. That's mintmobile.com/complete. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/complete. All was quiet at the remote location as a white van slowly pulls up. Jonah sighs. Damn it, what is he even doing? As he gets out, a voice says that they didn't think that he'd show up, but they also didn't think that Spider-Man would try to kill them either. Mysterio and the other members of the Sinister Six begin to walk out, with Electro laughing, stating, I always knew that Jameson was a villain. And then another voice calls out, a threat, a menace. Jonah turns to see Eddie Brock crawling up, wearing Doc Ock's mechanical arms, yelling, You're that reporter! The one who got fired from the Globe! Where's Octavius? Eddie says that he isn't coming, and he was fired because Spider-Man ruined his life. He lost everything, and all he wants is revenge. But what could an ordinary guy do against that monster? Nothing. Jonah asks, Are you all okay with this? And Kraven chimes in, Every sword added to our battle brings us closer to victory. Jonah takes a moment looking around. So this is it. This is where it's gonna happen. Mysterio tells him that he can say it. This is where they're going to kill Spider-Man. If we do it in this city, the other heroes may be a problem, but we planted a bug to bring him out here. Now it's just a matter of waiting for our revenge. Elsewhere, Peter is driving down a secluded road thinking that he let the monsters run rampant. The monsters and the cowards. Beetle gave them up, just took a little bit of persuasion. And now, what is he? The suit whispers to him, You're saving lives! And Peter slams on the brakes to think, telling himself, Yeah, I'm saving lives. Back at the house, Jonah goes out on watch with Eddie, and as they stand there, he asks, So this is revenge to you? You really blame Spider-Man for ruining your life? Eddie tells him, Yeah. And Jonah tells him, You were fired because you accused the wrong man of being Sin Eater on the front page of your paper. And then Spider-Man caught the real killer. Sounds to me like someone is just blaming others for their... But before he could finish, Jonah hears something crawling out of the woods. He walks over with his flashlight, and as he shines it up, he sees Beetle's body hung up in the trees. Eddie shouts to the group, He's here! And Mysterio runs out telling everyone, Remember the plan, activate the goggles. You'll be able to see reality while the image inducers terrorize Spider-Man. As the world around them begins to change and shift, everyone looks around with Mysterio asking, Kraven, where are you? Kraven, meanwhile, is out in the forest looking for someone particular. Someone with a suit whose tendrils lash out, piercing Mysterio's helmet, and suddenly the world changes back. Spider-Man hid in the ground. Kraven yells for everyone to spread out so they can draw out this alien version of Spider-Man, but Peter bursts out of the ground. I'll make it easy! Rhino shouts as he stampedes in, but Spider-Man uses the suit to create a blade on his arm, slashing at Rhino's face, tearing off his horn. He turns to the group. Is this your trap? How many times have we fought before? How many times have I stopped you? Eddie lunges out, telling him, You've never fought me before, but Peter kicks him away. I don't even know who the hell you are! Electro tries to shock him, but Peter laughs it off, and then he notices the fire by his feet. Kraven yells for everyone to get into the barn, and that's when Jonah charges in with his mech suit, grabbing Spider-Man by the throat, running in. Spider-Man is quickly trying to rip himself free, but Kraven throws a net to secure him, letting the fire burn him. As the suit is recoiling from the heat, Peter's face appears and he asks Jonah, Please, help. I'm not. Kraven runs over, grabbing more fuel to end it, to add more to the fire, and with an explosion, Jameson runs out holding Peter's body. Kraven then declares, The hunt is concluded. As the spear is raised, Kraven is then hit in the back of the head with a large metal pipe. As Jonah quietly says, Damn it, Peter. Why did it have to be you? A short amount of time passes and Peter wakes up in Jonah's van asking where are they and are they dead? Jonah tells him everyone except Kraven and Brock Ock. Kraven's out cold. Brock is going to the hospital. Peter holds his face. This is all my fault. I had these flashes. Shocker. Scorpion. So many. Jonah tells him that it sounds like he didn't do it. It sounds like the suit made him into a monster. Though that doesn't explain the previous 10 years of him being a wall-crawling menace. Peter finally picks himself up. I can feel it. It's in my head. It's in my heart. I don't think it's dead. And as they are driving away, the symbiote is latched onto the back of the van. Later in Peter's apartment, Jonah stumbles in holding Peter, and MJ runs over asking what happened, what is going on, and Peter tells her that he couldn't break free. Doesn't know if he ever wanted to break free. MJ tells him that there's no time, they have to get him out of here. And Jonah then asks what is she going on about, and Black Cat says that the cops just left, and she is pretty sure that they're watching the place. It seems that Wilson Fisk had one final move. In the event of his death, Spider-Man's identity got let out. Jonah looks out the window, and they all see all of the officers storming the building. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a voice says that it wasn't his fault. They loved him. He loved them. It started to fall apart here, see? With the smart man. The smart man knows how to do a lot of things besides interfere. I can help you all, see? Peter shows you with power that you can save everyone. As the symbiote bonds with Reed Richards, the Thing is also slowly being infected by the symbiote that they kept. Over back in the apartment, Peter walks out wearing his original Spider-Man costume, stating that he can still feel the alien suit out there, and he's going to find it. He doesn't want any of them to stick around and deal with the cops, so it's time that they all get the hell out of there. Once they get to the roof, Peter says that he's gonna go see Reed. He was studying the suit and the symbiote. Maybe he knows. But Jonah yells back at him, "Do you think you're gonna cut me out of this? You're going to the Bugle to tell the story properly." Peter snaps, telling him that for once in his stubborn life, listen to me, Jonah, and go home. This Thing could be after you as well. Peter jumps holding MJ, telling her that he'll let them know when it's safe. But before he could get very far, he stops to look at the Baxter building, seeing it covered in the black goo from his suit. He falls to his knees, realizing that it's already gotten a Reed. MJ tells him that it's not his fault, that the suit is evil. But Peter pulls up the mask, telling her that that's the Thing. He doesn't think that the suit is evil. It just heightens how you're feeling. God help me. I wanted to kill my enemies. I was tired of the constant onslaught of friends and family dying because I didn't know what I should have done. MJ stops him, telling him it isn't him. He's the person that she knows. And it's because he isn't some perfect man who does good. It's because he does good despite not being perfect. Despite that anger that he feels. It's easy to do good when you're perfect, but he has that anger in him, that dark side. He fights it and he wins. He is the man that Ben and May raised. That means beating the darkness. So go get him, Tiger. Show the world who you really are. As Peter and MJ stare for a moment, down on the ground level of the Baxter building, Captain America tells the officers to push the barriers back to the 2-block radius. Iron Man looks at his scanner, telling him that he can't figure it out. He isn't getting any readings through this goo. If this is some sort of hostage situation, they still don't know what they want. But Spider-Man walks up. I know what it wants. It wants me. Johnny runs over. Unbelievable! This is all your fault! Reed told you to take the suit off, and now him and Ben are trapped in there. Peter begins to tell him that he's sorry, but Johnny goes back to yelling, and Sue separates them. Peter tells them, I know that fire is his weakness. Torch could, but Iron Man stops him, telling him that they already tried that. Whatever this is, it's impervious to whatever they throw at it. Based on what Johnny told him about Reed's initial observations of the suit, they suspect that the symbiote has taken control of Reed in his brain to make the substance stronger. Spider-Man walks up, telling him that he can feel the suit. It's trying to get him to come inside. So he looks at Cap and he unmasks himself. I know you all see me as the Joker, but I'm telling you right now, man to man, face to face, it will never take control of me again. As he gets ready to head inside, a hole opens up, allowing him to enter, and MJ says that he shouldn't have done this alone. He forces a smile. It's okay. This is my fault, my responsibility. I've got this. As he walks in, MJ runs in behind and Johnny follows right up too, but the entrance closes off with Peter looking around asking, what the hell are you doing? MJ tells him that he can be mad later, and Johnny says he can be mad forever for all he cares. Peter tells them, fine, we have to find the lab. MJ looks around, seeing all of the people trapped in the Baxter building, realizing that they're alive in some kind of a trance. Peter realizes that this is beyond what he thought the suit could do. MJ takes one of the guns as Johnny blows open the elevator doors, stating that they can use the shaft to get up. As Peter runs in telling MJ to wait, he and Johnny make their way up the elevator shaft and a voice calls out to Johnny, Hey Matchstick, mind if I strike ya? The thing bursts in, slamming into Johnny Storm, launching him into the wall, causing him to explode. The elevator doors blow open and Peter coughs, pulling out his half-burned body onto the floor. But before he could get very far, Thing grabs him by the head, slamming him into the ground, asking, "Where are you going? Don't you know the big guy wants to see you?" Peter coughs up more blood, trying to crawl away. But Thing asks him, "Didn't you hear me? Let's go." Peter throws himself back, punching the Thing, telling him, "I'm angry. And when I'm angry, I'm unstoppable. No quips, no pulling punches, and Ben can take it." Peter begins to give Thing everything that he's got, but Thing punches through with a powerful punch, throwing him into the wall. As Thing laughs, pulling the webbing off of his face, Peter webs up on the sides of the wall, behind Thing, launching himself forward, kicking Thing out of the building and out with the others. Meanwhile, up in the lab, Johnny tries to radio to Peter, but a voice tells him, "Don't worry. He'll be here soon enough." Johnny looks up to see the elongated, infected Reed Richards asking, "What are you doing, man?" The symbiote laughs. "This isn't Reed? Not exactly. Though we've been using his impressive brain. Peter wanted to save everyone, and that's what we're going to do. See, we just needed more of us. We've been working on others. Peter will understand. Peter will see." Johnny shouts as he fires a blast at the symbiote, but the symbiote deflects it. Not now. We don't care much for fire. But the children, they're a different breed." As the symbiote activates the computer, there's a massive explosion of goo from the top of the building, raining the symbiotes down onto the streets below. Back inside, Johnny yells to Peter over the radio that he needs help, and Peter finally manages to pick himself up with Johnny yelling that the symbiote has armor on. Fire isn't. The symbiote knocks Johnny down, interrupting his sentence, telling him that he needs a lot to read, and it'd be a shame to, but at that moment, the symbiote is shot from behind as MJ tells him, "Okay, back away from the man." Peter hears the gunshot over the radio shouting, "What are you doing? This can't be happening. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? MJ's up there." At that moment, Cap and the others, now infected with the symbiotes, begin to climb in the windows. There's a pull in the back of Spider-Man's mind telling him to get up. This is on him. Mary Jane is in danger because of him. He needs to get up. Peter shakes his head as his spidey sense begins to go crazy, remembering what exactly it is that he's fighting. A bunch of symbiote-infected superheroes. As they get closer, Peter radios over to Johnny, telling him that they're here in the building. He needs to get MJ and get out. Over in Reed's lab, Johnny tells him that he is way ahead of him. MJ begins to step back after firing the gun again, and the symbiote tells her that it was her who caused all of this. "When I tried to bond with Peter, you were on his mind. His love for you caused him to falter, to never commit." MJ stops. "Peter loves me?" And the symbiote tells her, "He thinks he does, but you're nothing but an obstacle to a better him." Johnny flies by stating, "Hey, how about you ease up on the lady, huh?" And he grabs her by the hand, rocketing out of the Baxter building. Back in the lobby, the infected heroes suddenly stop and turn back, with Peter asking what is going on. Johnny yells that they may have bought him some time. See if there's anything in the lab to stop this. So Peter races up the elevator shaft to Reed's lab, stating that if anything happens to MJ, he will kill... No, it's anger. That's what the suit fed on. I have to focus right now. I need to be the man that Aunt May believed me to be. Meanwhile, out on the streets, Sue sees the heroes chasing Johnny. She hurries in to assist with her force fields to get her close to the fight. Cap throws his shield into Johnny's back, causing him to release MJ. But Sue saves her, telling her not to worry. It's going to be okay. And the symbiote yells, "No, it's really not!" Back in the lab, Peter looks through Reed's inventions, trying to learn more about the symbiote, seeing that all of the children's symbiotes are synthesized using elements of the main symbiote and Reed's unstable molecule formula, which means that if he can find a way to stop the main symbiote, the others will die, like putting a stake in the heart of the original vampire. And he realizes what a symbiote's weakness to fire is. He begins to try and figure something out, but then he realizes that Ben's still here. He radios over the comms, telling Johnny to hurry back to the building and try to lose Reed to give them some time. Johnny turns to his sister. "I don't know what the plan is, but I'm gonna put my faith in Spider-Man for once. God help us." Back at the Baxter building, Peter climbs out onto the roof with the symbiote stating, "This is so easy. We'll be together again soon and nothing can stop us." And Peter tells the symbiote that he knows that at the root of all of this, it's love. It's twisted, but it's love. He could take him over in a second, but how satisfying would that be? Just forcing Peter Parker to take the symbiote back. If the symbiote agrees to let Mary Jane live and stop possessing the others, he'll hand himself over willingly. he will become the symbiote's host again. The symbiote smiles. Agreed, but this one is too smart. We can't have him trying to stop things. The symbiote releases Reed and then stabs him in the chest, letting his lifeless body fall to the streets below. Peter screams, but with no time to waste, he swallows his anger and jumps down into the building, webbing up the hole. The symbiote easily cuts the webbing, scoffing, "Where are you going? There's nothing in the lab that can hurt me anymore. It's just us together." And as the symbiote begins to bond back with Peter, it notices something wrong. And Peter smiles, stating, "Flame on!" And the entire upper level of the Baxter building explodes. Using the image inducer that Reed made for Ben after the Fantastic Four's return from space, Johnny used it to look like Peter. And while the real Peter and MJ were watching the explosion from a safe distance. After that, Peter turned himself in. Fisk had stolen any possibility of being able to disappear into his life as Peter Parker. The trial was quick because the symbiotes had taken control of the other heroes as well. Their testimonies about feeling helpless and not being in control went a long way. He was found not guilty, and hearing those words is like having a crushing weight lifted off of his shoulders. He was a free man, and he visited the grave of Aunt May and Uncle Ben to say that it's so terrible. So much death, so much destruction, and he feels horrible, but he's never been happier, and how is that possible? MJ kisses his cheek, telling him that life isn't about one thing or the other, it's about all of it. All he can do is be his best and push towards happiness when possible. Peter asks her how is he supposed to be Spider-Man after everything that has happened. Off in the distance, Sue walks down the path asking MJ if she could have a chat with Peter for a moment. MJ nods, and Sue tells him that they wanted him to know that they all know Reed's death wasn't on him. None of them are strangers to tragedy. One of their first tragedies was a damned rocket flight that gave them powers. It turned Ben into the Thing, and nobody knows this, but Reed almost died from the guilt of that. And instead of succumbing, he did something remarkable. He took tragedy and that guilt, and he turned it into something good. He helped Ben, he helped all of them become heroes. He reminded them that they all have to look on the other side of tragedy for meaning. And she hands Peter a pin telling him that they can all move forward together. As Peter really looks at it, he sees the pin as the Fantastic Four's insignia. The good, the bad, it all brings them to where they are, and they get to decide where they're going. The nightmares are over for now, and the future will be fantastic. And there you have it, today's full story. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell right here on this channel, as it will only ever be receiving full stories from the other channel. And if you want to see the videos as they come out, make sure you go check out the Comicstorian main channel, where you get 5 days of videos a week. I'll see you next time.